Good morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning, kids and cubs, and welcome to Season 5 and episode number 710 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Always 100% Canadian. Today, recording day is Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, for broadcast on Friday, August 8th, 2025. Had to look at the date there, make sure I got that right. We are traveling through time, and I don't know what kind of day it actually is at the Beaver Lodge, but I went to look at the ahead forecast, and it's supposed to be sunny and very warm. So a nice day, I guess. We'll see if that actually pans out. I'm your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey, and with me, I'm so happy to say, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly, bookending the week, because we had him on Monday for Holiday Monday, and now we have him for the close off the week. And if everything goes well, Kits and Cubs, we will also have Mr. Grizzly with us on Monday coming at the end of the weekend, because tomorrow in real time, if everything goes as planned, we will be recording an interview with Sarah Spanier, one of the other independent candidates in Battle River Crowfoot, who you saw at the candidate forum if you watched it. So we'll have her for about an hour on our show, and we'll be able to give you more coverage of what's going on down there in another perspective. But since we have him here, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health today, sir?
Well, sir, pretty good, I think. I'm a little tired. I'm still trying to get my body adjusted to this new schedule, so it's not exactly easy. I can wake up easily at 4 a.m. That's not a problem. Getting up at 4 a.m. is surprisingly easy.
Okay.
Although I have to admit, on Friday, I could not wake up, and I went to bed at 9:30 the night before. I just could not wake up yesterday. But I was just exhausted, and when I got home from work yesterday, I sat down on the couch around 2:30 and then passed out for about 90 minutes, which I clearly needed.
Mm-hmm.
And then went and met some friends for a beer, and I felt great. That nap was very much needed. So after that, I felt solid,
Mm-hmm.
But today, I just took Lola out this morning. I slept until 7. Took Lola out around 9 because I was just dragging my butt trying to make my coffee. And took her out around 9. We went for a walk, and I started sneezing my head off. So I came back in, sat down, had a bite to eat, and fed her, and then took a Benadryl and passed out for a couple hours.
As Benadryl will have you do.
Yes, exactly. So it's one of those things where it just takes time to get the body used to the new schedule. It's 2 weeks, so getting up at 4 a.m. and taking Lola out at 4:30, that's the easy part. That is surprisingly easy. It's just at the end of the day, I find I'm quite tired because, even though I'm getting the right amount of sleep, just not fully used to it yet. So,
Plus, you're on a radically different schedule from the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised at how many people are out on Elgin Street at 4:30 in the morning.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, quite not crowds of people.
Well, yes.
I didn't expect to see a soul, and I've had conversations with a lot of people. So
Oh, okay. And
Thursday morning, we're walking along, and I'm right in front of the Standard, and there was a guy who had just got some takeout from the Elgin Street Diner, and he was preparing to eat it at one of those stand-up tables on the parklet sidewalk.
okay,
patio.
yeah.
And Lola started going crazy, and he thought it was him. And I'm like, no, she saw a squirrel or something. He's like, oh, thank God. Scared the hell out of him. But I'm like, Lola, you got to be quiet. She's just yelping and yelping and yelping. I'm like, you got to be quiet. It's 4:30 in the morning. That building has people living in it. Turns out she saw a trash panda, her first one, because she had gone crazier than normal. It wasn't like a reaction to a squirrel.
Right.
This was like off the charts. And I spoke to a woman out in front of ESD who actually works there, Elgin Street Diner. She says, yeah, no, there was a trash panda walking down the street. That's why I'm like, oh, that's her first one. That makes sense. So the first one we've encountered together. I don't know if she encountered one before she was ever in my life or not. But yeah, that's the first trash panda encounter with the two of us. So it was interesting, to say the least.
And how's it going at the new work?
It's going. It's slow because there's certain things that just aren't ready for me yet. So some days are longer than others, although next week is action-packed. I've got stuff on the schedule. Monday's the holiday, right? So Tuesday we got to put some stuff through its paces, and Wednesday we have to go run a couple of errands and pick up some items and then take some courses in the afternoon. Thursday I'm building some equipment, and Friday it'll be more courses. So it's going to be a busy week for me, which I'm looking forward to. It's great group of people that I'm working with. Chill attitude. Everybody is just there to get their job done. There's no backbiting or fighting or anything like that. Friday mornings we usually have a breakfast meeting where we go over a bunch of stuff. It's a team building thing, of course, but we go over projects and things we're going to be doing, and it's good. It's good, and I'm glad it's a slow ramp up process as opposed to you can push off the 20-meter board into the deep end, right? So it takes you get used to your new surroundings, your new coworkers, your colleagues, where everything is. You get used to the routine, and then we'll slowly start to develop some projects. It is going to have me on the road this year. I will be traveling a fair bit for the work for the job. I don't know where I'm going yet. Other parts of Canada, perhaps other parts of the world, because we do have bases in other parts of the world.
Okay.
Places that I can't discuss, but we have we have bases around the world. So locations around the world where people are working that I didn't know about, and again, I can't really discuss it. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, these things are upcoming. I don't know when or where, but at some point, I was told I should gear up to be traveling through the month of September. So
okay. Cool. That the slow ramp up is also good in the sense that because you're not being thrown into the fire right away, you have an opportunity to make a first impression that's not under high stress as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it's like they're like, "Can you do this?" I go, "Just tell me what you need, where you need me to be, and I'll take care of it." And it's so yeah, it's just having the right attitude helps. I mean, there's certain learning certain softwares that are proprietary to the job that you would not have access to outside of the job, right? So you have to learn those new things and certain terminology and things, but it's not, that's the only thing that I haven't done before. Everything else in the job, it's all stuff I've been doing for years, and all the guys I'm working with, same thing. We've all been in and out of this industry for decades, so it's nothing new to us, really. We learn about new product and new software and new proprietary systems, but that's part of the job. Like AV changes constantly, right? Stuff I did 10 years ago, we don't do anymore. It's outdated, right? Completely outdated, to the point where it's like, no, we have to change everything now because it changes so fast.
Okay, cool. Well, I am happy for you. That's some good stuff, good work environment, chill people, getting paid what you're worth. That doesn't suck.
Well, yeah, I won't see any money really until the 15th because I only got paid for 4 days work on the last pay. So,
But once it starts rolling in and
yeah.
normalizing, and then, there's going to be still some time that you're probably going to be, clearing off certain things like this. But once that's done and you sort of like get to the normal roll of it, that's going to be a big weight off.
Well, the plan is to have everything zeroed by January 1st, and I think I can do it before that. Not going to change the way I've been living for the last year. live frugally,
Right.
no outrageous expenses, keep everything as low. I've been canceling stuff left, right, and center that I'm like, I haven't used that in 2 years. It's gone. I'm not paying for it anymore.
Right.
Like it's like, why am I paying for all these streaming services? I don't use them. And the only reason I was continuing to pay because I forgot to go and cancel them, and they automatically come out of your account at the end of the month.
Right.
So it's like you go to purchase something. It's like, what? Why am I missing $40? Oh, son of a! You just forget it
Yep.
happens. So yeah,
Yep.
there's a few things that I've been able to just go, okay, let's go in and search, cancel that. And some things, I just look at my statement, my bank statement, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I don't even know what that is. I go in and find it. I go, oh yeah, but I'm not using that right now, so I'm just going to cancel that. A lot of that.
Oh man, I'm remembering when Chrystia Freeland about a year and a half ago or something like that. I'm not quite sure when it was. She came out and she was suggesting things for cost savings. Says, "Well, we canceled our Disney Plus," and like us, and everybody like laughed and lost. I can't believe that's what she said. And it's like here you are. It's like, my God, I realized I was going to affect all this. It's a real thing to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
I know, but it didn't play well in the court of public opinion. However,
No, I think it would have been better for her not to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, she's paid very, very well. Many of her needs are met because where's her
Yep.
riding? Is her riding in her hometown of Alberta?
No, Freeland, Rosedale, University Rosedale, I think, in Toronto
Oh,
area.
Toronto. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So she would have a housing allowance here in Ottawa,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
maybe,
No, I know, and I mean, she's not necessarily. She needs a big purse because she's made big dollars,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah, it's
in her
tone
life.
deaf.
But I mean, it's it's still a very, very valid tip
Oh, no question.
in this
No,
type of economy. It's like you might not be the one to deliver that
yeah.
message.
You should have somebody else, somebody like me, deliver that message. Go, "Look, here's how I saved a couple of bucks."
Yeah.
Telling somebody who has a lot of money telling me how to save money. I'm kind of like, no, no.
Well, at my end, things are going well. Just before getting in to record the show, Kits and Cubs, you will be happy to know that my beaver sweetie is not only safely landed in Romania, but safely where it is that he will be staying for the next while. And probably at this moment in bed and having sweet dreams because we are. It's past 11 p.m. there now, where it is, and after a full day of traveling and all that kind of stuff,
It's exhausting.
and yeah,
Yeah.
time zones and all that kind of stuff. So, but yes, things are going well there, and I myself yesterday. It's nice to have friends because first night away from someone you love
Mhm.
without cuddles can be tough.
Yeah.
So my good friend Aaron, with whom I went to see Mary Poppins the night before. By the way, I don't know if you would ever have time or something like that, but it's there for a couple more weeks. That's at the Royal Can. No, the Thousand Islands Playhouse in Gananoque. If you have an opportunity, it's amazing.
Yeah, I won't.
It's really amazing.
Maybe.
But she invited me out because her sons, well, one son now because the other one's away in university, plays in a band called the
Okay.
Garvin Brothers, and so we were down at the Merchant in Kingston watching them live. So just it was a night out with friends. We stopped at Lone Star, had some munchies before, and then went to watch the show. And damn good show, I will say too. We danced a lot of the night. We made sure there was people in front of the stage. We danced. It was a good range. It was rock,
Mhm.
like this, definitely rock, but a good range. Like from Great Balls of Fire to like an Ozzy Osbourne song to songs that they've written themselves to, to a rock version of Billie Jean. Right. So just a really, really good mix. And it was a great time. Everybody there seemed to really love it. Whenever Micah, who's the lead singer, was inviting people to the front, like, come and dance, man. He knows how to work a crowd. He got them out there like
What's the name
this.
of the band again?
The Garvin Brothers.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with them.
Yeah. So had a really, really, really good time. So Little free plug there too. But yes, I was kept company, and I got home last night, and I should have been tired for bed, but I was wired
Mhm.
instead. So yeah, I got to bed later than I wanted to, and I really, really wanted to see, because we're back in time now, because you're watching at a different moment now. But it was the morning of Summer McIntosh's 800-meter swim.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
did
then
see
before that, the 100-meter fly that had Josh Leando and Ilya
I didn't see that.
Karin
I
as
didn't see
well.
that. I saw Summer's race,
Yeah,
and, I think when she knew she wasn't gonna win it, she looked like she just coasted towards the end there in the 800 meter.
I think just my take was a little bit different, because uh, it's when you time trying to take someone over.
Mhm.
So that's a strategy thing, right?
Yeah.
And she hasn't done a lot of 800s.
No, no.
I mean,
It's
Katie
new.
Ledecky has only been beaten once in the last 13 years in the
Yeah.
800 meters, as it was by Summer McIntosh at a small event at some point somewhere. But that's it. I mean, she rules this race. So she was in second pretty much all the time. Every now and then she'd slip into third, but then come back into second, like this. And she was
Mhm.
keeping the splits like really close.
At
And then
100
at
meters
around,
ahead.
yeah. And then at around
100
like
meters left, I should say, yeah.
yeah, around with 115 meters left, like around 685 meters, just as she's like coming into the turn, like this, she was like to flip turn like this.
Mhm.
She started to take her over, and then figured, like this, okay, and if I take her over now, and maybe I can keep the speed up, after 100 meters, I'll break her, because there's still one more flip turn. Like that. But she did. But then Katie Ledecky, it's just like, oh yeah,
Go to 100
she
meter.
just like, and
Yeah.
then when you sort of have that sprint where you've taken, because they can see each other, right? They're in the
Oh, yeah,
lanes
yeah.
next to each other. When you have it, okay, I've got her, I've got her, I've got her, and then you see them take off. Sometimes your heart just goes, oh,
Well,
fuck. Because you need so much energy to do that first takeover,
yes.
that you can continue that momentum if you've done it. If you're maintaining that in your lead, the adrenaline goes you. But if someone passes you as you've done that, the adrenaline
It's
just
kind of over.
leaves, right?
Well,
It's like,
watching that race, and I thought, "This is gonna be tight," because you've got 3 of them really close. I mean, and there was nobody else in the race.
yeah,
There was nobody else even
yeah,
close. So, for a minute, I thought the Australian might pull off an upset victory.
yes, Laddie
Katie Ledecky
Pallister.
did what Katie Ledecky does, and pulled it out of the fire and won it, but, full props to the Australian, because
Oh,
that was a
oh
tight
yeah.
race, man.
Well, I mean, for all 3 of them, really, actually, because, um, like, the times, right? Katie Ledecky won in 8:14:62.
Mhm.
There are 8 swimmers, right? The swimmer that finished 8th finished in 8:27:51,
A 13-second difference.
right? So, I mean,
That's huge.
it's when you see it on screen, you see how huge that actually is.
Yeah.
So, oh, sorry, I'm sorry. That's let me rephrase that. Those were the wrong numbers.
Oh,
8:05:62 for Katie Ledecky, and then the
mhm.
person that finished 8:26.
Oh, so a 21-second difference.
Yes, yes, 21-second difference. Uh, but in the 3, Katie Ledecky, Lanny Pallister, and Summer McIntosh, all 3 of them went under 8:10. In fact, all 3 of them went under 8 minute 8 seconds.
Yeah, and
In the
that's been done
history,
before, right? Yeah.
yeah, in the history of this event, all countries combined, all swimmers combined, who have ever swum this in competition, nobody else other than these 3 have gone
Mhm.
below 8:12.
Yeah. So it gives you an idea of
4-second difference.
how tight the competition is, and let's remember, Summer is 18.
And this is her first
First.
big
Big one, yeah.
competition, 800. So, once she starts thinking, okay, maybe 115 was too early. Maybe I got to save it for the last 65 or something, or whatever.
She's
Right.
gonna come back fierce in the next one. When she races the 800 again, she's gonna come back. She's pissed. She's on a mission. Well, I mean, when she got the 100-meter butterfly, won the gold medal, and missed the world record by, what, 1/18th hundred, it's like such a close.
Right.
She was so close to tying and breaking the record.
Yep.
She wins the gold medal, and she's like,
Yes.
like, that's the most disappointed gold medalist I've ever seen in my life, because she wanted the record.
Well, and that was her best one to get it because, like, she had, like, 2 days of rest before and then
Yeah.
had a day of rest before the 800. So, yeah, with that 200 fly, and she that was the one she was going for because she wasn't going for the records on the first 2 days when
No,
she had to do, like, 4 or 5 swims in 1 day,
no.
right? And not
She was
trying to
saving it
finish
all for the
first.
final.
Exactly. But that was, like, the 1 day, "Okay, you know what? I got an extra I had 2 days off before, and I got 1 day off here, like this, like, let's go for that world record." It's like, "Damn."
I don't think I've ever seen a more determined, Canadian athlete in my life to just, "No, I'm going to win everything." And she's like,
Mm,
if she doesn't, she's mad at herself. She knows she said, and in the 200, she goes, "No, it was my last turn where I took an extra breath, and I shouldn't have done that. That slowed me down." She knew
yep.
that record was mine, and I was the one to lose it because I screwed up. I'm like, "Wow." So she's gonna knock that record down.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yep.
And no doubt she will set a new world record in the 800 in time. It's gonna
Mhm.
happen. It's just a
Yep.
matter of time. Again, she's 18.
I know. I
Katie
know.
Ledecky is 10 years older than her.
I know. It's just she's ridiculously phenomenal.
Yeah. Well,
And,
she's a generational athlete.
yeah.
She wants her 5 in the World Aquatics. She'll get them next year. It used
Yep.
to be biannual, but now it's an annual event, so
Yep.
she can go for it again next year.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So she
Absolutely.
will get it, and I think next year will be the year 'cause she's got 3 gold and a bronze. She could get another gold medal in her final swim. By the time this airs, that will already have happened, but it
Yep.
hasn't happened yet. So,
400 IM.
yeah,
Her
we'll see what
signature one.
happens. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. So, when you were talking about an athlete like that, the other one that's sort of like that, new and emerging, is that Victoria Mboko, uh,
In
who
tennis.
was playing in tennis because when she was up and coming,
She's from Toronto, correct?
um, not sure exactly.
I think she's from
I
Toronto.
need, yeah, possibly. Um, but when they did the first profile of her, when she's like sort of like who is she? Because they were talking about this tennis tournament that her sister was involved in,
Mhm.
and there was like a spot that needed to be filled, so they asked her if she wanted to play, and it's like, "Oh, okay, like the day of, like just before going, right?" And so she grabs a racket and she lost like this, but she was like mad at herself like this because she went in there and she said like this, just I can win this,
Mm.
right? It's like for 5 minutes notice, whatnot, like this, but at 12, 13 or something like that, that was sort of like, "Sure, put a racket in my hand, I can win this." It's like, "Damn, I didn't win this. What the hell?" Right? So, and, like, I'm just looking at her go. It was like yesterday, she's in the 3rd round of a Masters 1000 tournament, which is so the last match she just played is the most important match she ever played in her life, the biggest one, and she's playing against the top 30 in the world. She lost the first set 6-1, won
Mhm.
the second set, and won the last set 6-0.
Well, and she's only 18.
Just her too.
So, I think she's got a good, career ahead of her. She was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, but she grew up in Toronto.
Yeah.
So her parents had, emigrated. Is that on your end? I was hearing a car alarm, and it certainly wasn't here. I don't know. She was born in North Carolina, but her parents had emigrated from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and they settled in Toronto in 2006. So she was born in Charlotte, but she spent her entire life in Toronto. So her entire life, 18 years. My goodness.
There is indeed a car alarm.
Oh,
There we
okay,
go,
yeah,
they just turned it off.
yeah.
I was just typing in the private chat in the show directions. I said, "Car alarm here, you gotta stretch." And then it's like, I don't know how much you can stretch on Victoria Mboko.
Quite a bit, actually. Got her whole thing here. So yeah, her older, she is the youngest of 4 siblings, and her older siblings, Victoria and so her sister Gracia and brother Kevin played at
Mhm.
the college level.
Yes.
Inspired by her older siblings, she began playing tennis at around the age of 3 or 4. So 14, 15 years of playing tennis, and now she's currently ranked at number 540.
No, no, not anymore.
Well, this is just the latest page. I'm sure it's jumped since then. This is from her Wikipedia page. I'm not sure what her current ranking is, but
Yeah,
let's see
no,
if I
no.
can.
Her current ranking is at least 65 now
Okay.
in the world. She came into the tournament like ranked about 90th, and with those Masters 1000s, you can climb up the rankings pretty quickly if you have a good run. So yeah,
85 according to this from WTA Tour.
yeah, 85 in, yeah, so around there. And like I said, with that win, she's now when the next week's numbers will come in, she'll come in at least 65.
Well, it says
But
here
she started the year at like 300 or something.
five. Okay, she was at 564.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, that's what I'm. Okay, there we go. That's doubles. I was looking at the wrong ranking.
Ah,
Apologies. Singles. Yeah, she's 85 as of the 28th of July. So yeah, her doubles ranking is at 540. It was at 564. So now I was just looking at the wrong number. There's a lot of information on the page here. She's won 146 and lost 9. No titles yet, and it shows her prize money of $396,293. So $400,000, and she's 18 years of age, and she's got nowhere to go but up from here.
seriously.
Yeah.
It's just she's just phenomenal. She's just she has this power and whatever. I mean, you have to see her play. I don't know if it's one of those things where because she's new to this level and she just doesn't know better, so she's fearless.
It's entirely possible.
But oh my God. So yeah, right now she's with her run, she's 65th in the world, and if she wins the next match, she'll climb to 55th in the world. But she's going to be taking on the number 1 player in the tournament, Coco Gauff. So who won the French Open this year, if I remember correctly. So I have a feeling that they've played once before recently, that they met in another tournament. And yes, they have, like this, and Victoria Mboko took it to 3 sets, and Coco Gauff came off the court saying, "It's like I felt like I played myself."
Oh, wow. How old is Coco?
Pardon?
How old is Coco?
I have to take a look at that. She must be in her 20s now, I think. Early 20s, I would assume, but I could be wrong. 21. Yeah.
21. She's currently ranked number 2 singles and number 1 in doubles.
Yes. And she was like, the first time she played her, it's like, damn. So that's what it's like to play me. So yeah, it should, hopefully it will be a match that will be as good as the one at Wimbledon, and preferably, and hopefully maybe the home crowd will be enough to carry her over. So, but she's the last player now left in singles. Of course, by the time this airs, the tournament will be over. But yes, and then there was one team left in men's doubles. Liam Drexel, who's a young, again, up-and-comer, and a guy named Cleve Harper, who just entered the world's top 100 in men's doubles. He's our highest-ranked doubles player, but he's a doubles specialist, hardly plays any singles at all. And Liam Drexel, who's like about to enter the top 100 in singles, and in doubles too. He's like a 116, 118 on both of them, is his doubles partner. So and I think they've advanced to the second round or something, or so. But out of all the doubles teams, it's like the up and fresh newcomers out there that are getting the wins. So there you go. All right, into the show. We gapped a lot, but that's okay.
I haven't seen it in a while. So.
I know, exactly. Today, Kits and Cubs, we're going to talk about, well, actually, you know what? Before we do that, I forgot I sent you the wrong outline. Okay, that's all right. No worries. I'll take care of the part that I had, because I noticed that we were talking sports, and we are the 8th today if you're watching the show, which means today is the opening of the Canada Summer Games, if you happen to be in St. John's, Newfoundland. So today, the day that we are recording, or I guess I saw on the national, so I guess that was last night really, that the torch had arrived in St. John's. But the games will be opening officially today. And Team Yukon is sending their biggest team ever, which is very good. And according to the government of Canada itself here, when they're talking about the games. They say it's a multi-sport event that will bring together over 5,000 participants from all 13 provinces and territories, competing in 17 sports, 19 disciplines for 240 medal events. Canada Summer Games, for a lot of athletes, it is their Olympics, and but for a lot of others, that's where you start first hearing their names, and then a couple of years later, you see them at the Olympics and winning national championships. The Government of Canada is the single largest investor in the Canadian sports system. Through Sports Canada, it's providing over $29.25 million to support the St. John's 2025 Canada Games, including contributions towards the operational costs of the host society, the addition of lacrosse to the sports program, funding for the Fortis Canada Games complex, as well as the costs associated with participant travel. In addition to Sports Canada's funding, other federal departments are also contributing to the successful delivery of the Games. Housing Infrastructure and Communities Canada provided $11.59 million through the City of St. John's for the construction of the Fortis Canada's Games complex, and the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency contributed $1.3 million in operational funding to the host society to promote the Games across Canada. And there was also news, which was very good from CBC. They've announced a multi-year deal to broadcast the Canada Games in the future. The deal will cover the next 4 Canada Games, 2 in the summer and 2 in the winter. So 2025 St. John's, 2027 in Quebec City, that will be winter, 2029 in Moncton, St. John, and then 2031 in Quebec. I'm not sure what city, but it will be in the province of Quebec, with the city and the dates for those ones to still be determined. CBC Radio-Canada will provide extensive coverage of the Canada Games in English on CBC GEM, CBC Sports.ca, and CBC Sports YouTube channels, and in French in the sports section of Ici Tout TV and via the Ici Tout TV app. Notably, for this August St. John's Games, all 1,250 hours of coverage will be available to stream on CBC and Radio-Canada platform. So they're covering this like they cover an Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Quote, sports is a uniquely unifying force in bringing Canadians together, said CBC Radio-Canada President and CEO Marie-Philippe Bouchard. CBC Radio-Canada is committed to supporting Canada's amateur athletes, and there's no better way to do so than to partner with the Canada Games Council to showcase our country's largest amateur sport competition. And then the President and CEO of the Canada Games Council, Kellyanne Paul, said, "This collaboration with CBC Radio-Canada marks a significant moment for the Canada Games movement. It not only ensures a national platform for incredible Canada Games athletes and their stories, but also significantly amplifies our shared commitment to celebrating the unifying nature of sport from coast to coast to coast." It says, of the 316 Canadian athletes that competed at the 2024 Paris Olympics, 103 of them took part in the Canada Games at various times, including the Paris 4x100 meter relay gold medalists Andre DeGrasse and Jerome Blake. So just as I was saying, at the Canada Games, you often see the athletes first before you see them at the Olympics. So it's a good competition all around, and I'm very happy. I'm going to be checking some of that out. Okay, kids and cubs. Today we are going to talk to you about.
Just before we go there.
Oh yes.
Just before, I wanted to make a mention of 2 things that are happening right now in Ottawa.
Okay.
For those of you who aren't aware, the Canadian Track and Field Championships are underway in Ottawa. They started July 30th and they run till August 3rd. By the time this airs, this will have finished, obviously. And there's also an Ironman taking place in Ottawa on Sunday. So it's first ever Ironman in Ottawa. So it's the festivities, I guess you could say, started on Thursday. The race is Sunday, and just looking at the schedule, it was like, oh my goodness, it starts at 3:30 in the morning. The actual start of the race starts at 6 a.m. and the magic hour finish line is at midnight. So it's quite the course. I can show you some of what it looks like. There's the, I'll bring it up on the screen so you can see the swim course.
Okay.
Because I thought it would be interesting for those of you who might find this interesting. I find it interesting. There's the swim course. It starts out at Britannia Beach from the pier, the dock, I guess. And that is 2.3 miles. So what is that? 3.8 kilometers. is the swim,
Yeah.
and then the bike, which is a monster, 180 kilometers through the capital.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and then of course there's the actual marathon of 26 miles or 40K, 42.2 kilometers. Um, I this is not something I would ever do. No way, not in a million years. I
Nope.
couldn't. I physically couldn't do it. Even when I was at my best shape ever in my life, no way,
Mhm.
no way. It's, I mean, the discipline that goes into training for an Ironman, let alone just participating in one. No, it's nuts. It
Yep.
is nuts. But
Indeed.
I'm gonna go down later on this evening because there's some stuff happening at Confederation Park, so I'm gonna go down and check it out and maybe take in some of it on Sunday morning. That
Cool.
will be actually tomorrow, but this is Friday when this airs, so maybe we'll be able to put in the chat who won or whatever. I don't
Ah.
know.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad
I
you
can talk
mentioned.
about it on Monday.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the Canadian Track and Field Championships too, because yeah, that's a very, very big event. It's going
Mhm.
on in Ottawa, and I'd seen, I think was the in the women's 400 meter race final, 6 of the 8 people in the race had been to the Olympics, I
Mhm.
believe, or something. So again, just high caliber. And there's a new star emerging in the women's 100 meter. And it was, has times very close to Audrey Leduc. So we're starting to develop some depth in some of the events, not just having one star, but like 2 or 3 in
Yes.
there, which is what you need for good sustained program that lasts for years and years. So that is very, very exciting to see. And I think there's some people, some young runners. There's a 100-meter runner, I think, who defeated uh, Andre DeGrasse's best time when
Oh,
he
really?
was at that age
Mm.
or something. So yeah, there's some emerging talent happening up, and then some people, some veterans. Gabrielle Dubord Stafford, I think, is her name. She's, I think, a 5,000-meter specialist or something, and she's been to the Olympics several times, and was in the running, like was definitely mentioned as a name, and she's back, and she's won her events too. So it's nice to see some stalwarts as well come back.
Just looking at some of the times here for the 100 meter in the men's, uh, nobody's running really fast.
Yeah, the 10:02 I think was the winning time.
Yeah, nobody went under 10
Yeah,
seconds, which is
yeah.
wow.
Andre
Kind of
DeGrasse didn't run
surprised.
the 100.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
No,
no,
I don't
he
see him
didn't.
in here at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He ran the 200. I think he won it, but he didn't run the 100 this time
Yeah,
around.
he's been more of a 200 specialist in the last couple of years, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the I think they had some an under 20 category. And I think it was the person in the under 20 category who won in a time faster that Andre DeGrasse won at and when he was under 20 or something. So
Mm.
but his name I don't have it at the top of my head. All right, Kits and Cubs. Lots of sports, lots of stuff today. But we don't only have that. Um, Today, we're going to talk to you about one of the projects of national interest, national importance that's being studied, and we mentioned it before when everybody was talking about, and the first proposals were coming around, and we were looking at some of them, and to me, this was the one that seemed to be the most likely
Mhm.
to get buy-in very quickly because there was a very strong green energy component to it.
Mhm.
It's bigger than that, and there is some traditional, also conventional energy component to it. But there's an element of nuclear to it, and then there's an element of wind to it. And if you put it all together, and they call this one the Eastern Energy Partnership Program. So it's all 4 provinces and a little bit of Quebec because we have the new hydro deal between Churchill Falls
Mhm.
and, and Quebec. But to boost the ability to generate electricity in that area. So the Eastern Energy Partnership isn't just one project. It's a series of projects together that all four leaders of the Atlantic provinces have gotten together and sort of agreed upon. And if they can get all of them done, make them all work together, it definitely contributes to the overall goal stated by Mark Carney of making Canada an energy superpower. To Jacques Poitras from CBC, he says, on a gravel road by the side of the Trans-Canada Highway, New Brunswick's Natural Resources Minister John Herron gazes down at a long clearing cut through the forest. He sees poetry, national poetry, that is. Herron hopes one of New Brunswick's proposed projects of national interest will connect to an existing natural gas pipeline running under that clearing. Quote, this is a nation-building project that checks every box. The plan is to extend a gas line that now ends in Quebec City into New Brunswick to link with the Maritimes and Northeast pipeline beneath the minister's feet. The line carries Alberta gas routed through the United States or gas extracted in the United States into Atlantic Canada. But the Quebec extension would bypass American territory completely, creating an all-Canada route. Quote, the poetry kind of goes like this. You have Western Canada gas going into Ontario through the province of Quebec by adding additional pipe from Quebec City into Atlantic Canada, the minister says. The additional pipe, aspirationally speaking, would be made of Ontario steel. This is a made-in-Canada solution. This is energy sovereignty. The proposal is on New Brunswick's list of projects submitted to Mark Carney's government for expedited regulatory approval under Bill C-5, which was adopted into law in June. So this particular element of the project is interesting because Quebec is not really pro-oil.
Not really.
Governments haven't been, but maybe not so much on gas. And at least that does connect some energy east to west, because with oil, we do have the Line 5 issue, which goes through the United States. And if ever, the United States wants to punish us somehow or, cancel it or break it down, or it breaks, there's no way to get oil east to west.
Well,
So we should at least get gas east to west.
this is if Trump does what Trump does and he decides that's it, we're shutting off that pipeline, you can't ship your oil anymore. That could happen. I mean, the man's unpredictable. That could happen. Were that to happen, I'm sure you would have Quebec say, okay, let's look at putting a pipeline into the east now. Let's have a serious discussion about this, because we realize the importance of it now. That could happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't rule it out.
Public sentiment in Quebec has shifted a bit in terms of the a regular pipeline. But François Legault himself, I think, would probably shift, but it doesn't like he will be premier after this term.
Yeah. Well, and one of those things that you have to consider is the threat of annexation and how it's made Quebecois residents proud, patriotic Canadians. Not a statement I thought I'd hear myself say, but and here we are. Quebecers are very proud people, no question. I lived in Quebec for a number of years. I have a lot of family there, and I love the province and the people. But there was this brewing sentiment of disillusionment, for want of a better term, for decades. And I think what we're seeing now is people are looking at the actual threat from our neighbor to the south and saying, hey, hang on again. Like, whoa.
Safety in numbers?
Cool. Yes.
As well. Right? Yeah.
Well, and I think the vast majority of the population of Quebec too also would recognize that if they ever were to separate, they would be twisting in the wind on their own, because the Americans wouldn't want anything from them.
Mm-hmm.
They'd take whatever they wanted and leave the rest.
Yeah.
And don't forget, there are traditional treaties in the province of Quebec as well.
Mm-hmm. They're
not part of the numbered treaties, but there are treaties. So
right.
It's the same thing with Alberta's threat to separation. It's not your land.
Exactly. So getting back to the article, the Prime Minister's call for proposals has stirred interest from provincial governments across the country, not least in Atlantic Canada, where premiers see a new opportunity to boost their economies and meet a growing demand for electricity. Many of their proposals fall under the label of the Eastern Energy Partnership, which envisions the four Atlantic provinces generating more electricity and transmitting it to each other, to Quebec and other buyers. They range from upgrading the subsea cable between Prince Edward Island and the New Brunswick mainland, likely one of the simpler projects, to a Nova Scotia proposal to build enough offshore wind turbines to generate a quarter of Canada's electricity needs. Winning the quote, project of national interest designation gets proponents a faster regulatory review process, but doesn't guarantee federal funding. It's also not a sure thing that Ottawa will approve the Eastern Energy Partnership projects as a whole. Quote, I don't want the perfect to be the enemy of the good, says Nova Scotia Liberal MP Sean Fraser, the minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency. Quote, I think we have an opportunity and, in fact, an obligation to move as quickly as possible on the components of the partnership that are ready, he says. Many of the projects face obstacles. Bill C5S provoked a skeptical reaction from some First Nations leaders concerned that accelerated reviews will compromise their right to be consulted. In New Brunswick, however, some chiefs are open to making deals. Pabineau First Chief Terry Richardson supports the New Brunswick government's proposals, which include an expansion of nuclear power generation in the province. Quote, I'm okay with it because we need a solution. We need a baseline source of energy, and right now we don't have any, says Richardson. I mean, renewables are great, but what do you do when the wind don't blow, the sun don't shine, and the water don't flow?
Mm-hmm.
Assembly of First Nations Regional Chief Joanna Bernard says many bands are keeping an open mind but will still insist on equity stakes in projects. Quote, back in the day, it was, here's some scholarships or here's capacity building so maybe your people can work on the pipeline. Those days are gone, Bernard said. We're going to own part of the company. We're going to be there on the ground, making sure environmental issues are of the highest priorities and the profits will go to First Nations. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston's Wind West plan to develop thousands of offshore turbines and export the electricity to other provinces could be a boon for national efforts to decarbonize its power sources if it came to fruition at that scale. Scott Urquhart, the Cape Breton-born CEO of a Copenhagen-based wind energy company, says the project is doable, with the wind off Nova Scotia being, quote, pretty much the best in the world. But it may take a decade or more to get the turbines turning and at a considerably higher cost than the $5 to $10 billion the Premier is forecasting, according to Halifax energy consultant Heidi Leslie. Quote, the estimate is really low, she says. Wind power prices in a recent U.S. bidding process were far higher than what Ontario customers are now charged on the residential power bills, Leslie says. At that rate, quote, you're losing money on every kilowatt from Wind West, she says. And the further away it is from the place that's using it, the more expensive it is because you need to build the transmission to get it there. New Brunswick and Nova Scotia are doubling their transmission links, but, quote, that will certainly not be enough to handle what's required, says Larry Hughes, an energy expert at Dalhousie University in Halifax. New Brunswick's ambition to expand nuclear generation is also provoking questions. The province's existing nuclear power plant, Point-le-Preau, has been plagued with costly problems since it began operating in 1983. It is responsible for a large part of the provincial power utility's $5 billion debt. More nuclear power, whether that is a second large reactor at Point-le-Preau or small modular reactors, will only add to the financial burden, says David Kuhn, leader of the New Brunswick's Green Party. It's insane, he says. We all get nuclear power bills of a size that no one is happy with because of the extremely expensive cost of owning a nuclear power plant. New Brunswick Premier Susan Holt says she gets it. Holt won a big majority last year after campaigning on affordability issues, and she's already faced blowback from residents about their power bills. She hopes neighboring provinces will share the expense of more nuclear generation in exchange for some of the electricity that will be produced. Quote, when I'm trying to deliver affordability for New Brunswickers, I'm looking at who's shouldering the burden with us, she says. How do we reduce the cost to New Brunswick ratepayers while still pursuing our objectives of clean power and reliable power? In addition to nuclear power, New Brunswick's electricity is generated by a combination of fossil fuels, hydro, and to a lesser extent, wind and biomass. Without its emissions-free nuclear reactor, the province would need to burn 4 times as much coal, making it even harder to lower emissions, says Brad Cody, New Brunswick Power's Vice President of Business Development. Meanwhile, the province's largest hydro, Mactaquac, needs a major upgrade that could cost up to $9 billion. Laurie Clark, the CEO of New Brunswick Power, says there's an onus on the federal government to help defray the costs of decarbonizing the power supply rather than passing costs on to customers. Quote, I do really believe that the federal government has a role to play in this as well. They've set the deadlines for net zero, Clark says. Heron is also looking for federal support, invoking the possibility of a government ownership stake in the natural gas line extension. Quote, I think there's an opportunity to de-risk the project if the project is initially state-owned and First Nation-owned, he says. That would speed up permitting, and it de-risks that investment from the private sector at a future date. Fraser would not commit to that, but he didn't close the door either, citing the precedent of the federal government's 2018 takeover of the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion project in British Columbia. Quote, more often, the right outcome will be that we create the environment that will incentivize investment, that will allow private companies to set up to succeed and to employ people in the region. But we don't want to write off the possibility that certain kinds of investment may be required for particular projects to make them viable if we believe the long-term interests of Canadians will be served. So that gives you a broad outline of the various projects that are being considered. There's been some developments recently on one of them, and that would be the Wind West project specifically, that Premier Houston has proposed. Now, it seems that for New Brunswick, the peak electricity that it needs at any given time is about 2.4 gigawatts. So there was a project first to build some wind supply that would supply up to about 2.5 gigawatts. And then there was a further project later on that would seek to double it to 5.
1.21 gigawatts? Wait,
This one.
When you get this baby up to 88. Sorry.
This one project aims to provide 60.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, right? Which is 27% of current Canadian needs. So this is a massive project. Now it's as we mentioned in the article, it would take a long time in the sense that if it gets approved as it is and as we're going, there probably won't be any construction starting until 2033 on the actual wind farm itself. Because again, you have to have, if you're planning for 60 gigawatts of energy, you need the transmission lines to be able to carry that.
Yeah, they're going to be big lines.
Right. So, and that part is something that probably would require federal funding.
Well, that's a lot of copper. So I wonder if they would try and use superconductor, but there's no loss with superconductor, right? And I mean, it's 2030. That's 5 years from now. So
right.
Possible. But the advantage of superconductor is you don't lose any of the energy.
Right.
Whereas with copper, it does bleed out and bleed off, so that by the time you get from point A to point Z, you're not getting 60.
Okay, gotcha.
It bleeds off. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the most efficient method we have currently outside of superconductor, but superconductor material is very, very, very expensive.
Well, the fact that there's 50% tariffs on copper now might make a good case for superconductor.
You never know.
You never know. When the market changes, sometimes the business case changes, right? So what we're going to talk about here is a little bit Wind West. So I don't know if you have the first clip ready, Mr.
I do.
Grizzly.
Just bear with me.
This was a couple of weeks ago when Premier Tim Houston came out with the idea, and he prepared a pretty professional video selling the idea of the project.
What if Nova Scotia could power up to 27% of Canada's electricity needs? Stop and think about that. That would make Nova Scotia an energy superpower. Sounds like a stretch, right? Well, it's not. Right now, Nova Scotia is on the edge of a clean energy breakthrough, and we're already in the process of licensing 5 gigawatts of offshore wind energy. For context, our entire province only uses about 2.4 gigawatts at peak demand. This 5 gigawatts, in and of itself, is massive. It's twice what we use today. But the real story? Our offshore wind zones could generate up to 66 gigawatts. Not 2, not 4, not 5, 66. And with steady winds that blow about 60% of the time, Nova Scotia can produce a reliable 40 gigawatts. So here's the next question. Why produce that reliable 40 gigawatts when you only need 2? Unless you can export the rest. Well, you can't export clean power without a way to move it. We need a cable, ideally along a national energy corridor, to deliver that wind energy westward across Canada. We call it Wind West, and Nova Scotia's Wind West project can produce enough energy that is the equivalent of powering up to 27% of the country's needs. This energy is very valuable. New England has massive extra energy needs, and they're certainly not alone. I support the Prime Minister's vision of making Canada an energy superpower. That's why I fully support projects like Energy East that are important for the West and our entire country. But Nova Scotia has a lot to contribute to making Canada an energy superpower. Canada would be even stronger with Energy East and Wind West. We've been handed a golden ticket. With global uncertainty rising, with growing pressure for us to do our part, and with Nova Scotia ranked 60th out of 60 in GDP per capita in North America, we cannot afford to let this moment pass us by. Of course, there are questions. Big projects always raise questions, but we are committed to working with Nova Scotians to ensure this project will benefit everyone. Industry is desperate for clean, reliable energy. Wind West could fuel battery plants, AI data centers, industries of the future, and it would transform our economy here in Nova Scotia. For our workers, for our families, it would be a game changer. My government's ready to invest. Private capital's ready to invest, but it will take the political will of the federal government to step up with funding too. We're at the table, we have our sleeves rolled up, we're ready to paint a new self-reliant and prosperous picture for the future of Nova Scotia and Canada. So, what are we waiting for? Let's make it happen right now with Wind West.
Pretty
Thoughts?
promising.
Yeah.
I can't deny a word of that. Clean energy. Clean energy. Renewable clean energy. Like, and the one thing he, as he was talking about what it can do, and then he said the magic words, AI data centers, which are being built right now at a tremendous pace and require enormous amounts of energy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Google and possibly Meta. I know Google for sure, or Alphabet, I guess, wants to build their own small nuclear generating stations to power their AI and quantum computing as well. So, yeah, you're going to need the power. And if we can, as a nation, like the 27% of the country could be provided with power just from that project alone. Now, it's a big project, but when I want to give you an example here, when I mentioned, superconductors, right? And I'll give you an example of, this is just from CERN. And in this image, you can see a 12,500 amp normal cables that you would use in the back, all the black ones there, and one 12,500 amp superconductor cable for comparison.
Dang.
Right? Like it's you can replace all of that in the back, all of those black cables, with one tiny little superconductor cable that has no loss.
Shut up and take my money.
It's something they've been talking about for decades, and there's more and more research being poured into it. But it's one of those things that it is a serious thing to consider, because you don't lose anything. Our transmission system for electricity right now is incredibly inefficient.
Mm-hmm.
We know this.
Yes. Fact check.
It's costly, it's expensive, it's inefficient, but it's the best we have. And we've got nobody who is really pouring serious dollars into looking at changing it. But here's a great opportunity right now with the cost of copper going way up. Here's an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can get on the superconductor bandwagon.
Since we're doing stuff,
I mean,
let's put the money in and do it right.
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to be wasted. Right? yeah, again, yeah, take my money. Let's do it. I'm happy to pay taxes to do that.
Mhm.
Jeez. So you get an idea of the project. Now, of course, this is the you know the glossy sales pitch, right? Produced video. This was released, I think, on June 5th, if I'm not mistaken. Uh, and then we had the meetings in Muskoka
Mhm.
not too long ago. And we have a small clip here from Tim Houston, who was asked specifically in the interview about these projects at that time. So we're looking at a couple of weeks ago now. And this is where things were at that time since the video came out.
Okay, just give me a sec while I get this queued up here. I was looking at the wrong one.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Just give me a sec here on that. I'll queue this up. Sorry.
No worries. No
I got
worries.
sounds in the background here that are driving me crazy while I'm trying to queue up the video. Playing in my ear, and I'm like, I can't concentrate because I haven't done this in a week or two. Where's the start point here? Yeah, okay, I got it just about queued up and ready to go. Okay, there we go. So bear with me while I bring this onto the screen, and we can have a look at what he has to say once I actually raise the volume. It just needs to.
He's new here, kids.
I think the last time we spoke was in Saskatoon, and you were championing the Eastern Energy Alliance, I believe is what it's called. A lot of wind, offshore wind, and grid upgrades. I mean, do you have a sense of whether you're any closer on getting your key project moved to the front of the line?
This is a big opportunity for our country. The energy opportunities for Atlantic Canada are significant. For Nova Scotia, that's wind. Could power a lot of Canada with that offshore wind. So I'm excited about that. I know that we have a bit of work to do to put a bit of meat on the bones, as they say, on some of the technical scoping
Still in the
and
concept
stuff.
phase, right?
But I think there's incredible interest, and that's the first step. We want the federal government to be interested in what's possible. They are, for sure. Now I've got to get it to the next stage where we move from the interest to the tangible support. But it'll be a good thing for Atlantic Canada. It'll be a good thing for Nova Scotia.
Well, Premier Tim Houston, I hope your optimistic outlook trumps my pessimistic outlook, because a lot of people are counting on. We appreciate your time. Nova Scotia Premier Tim Houston, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
So, just like I said, it was just one question in a big interview, and I would have liked to have more of the interview about that at that time. But he speaks specifically here in the end, where you saw that the move, right, from interest to tangible support. So he puts this out at the 5th. We have this meeting a couple weeks later, and now here we are. Well, beginning of early August, but this was at the end of July. What I'm going to show you when this announcement came out, and here we have it is Nova Scotia's Minister of Energy, Trevor Boudreau, who's talking a bit about the project, because they held a press conference to announce that they have designated the first areas where there would be where these projects would be built, so where they would be physically located. So this was the big announcement. So again, all these little announcements somewhere along the way, announcing the video, sitting there. Okay, we need to move here. Okay, we've chosen the locations. Okay, right. It builds momentum for the project. So this is all part of the sell in order to get to the federal government to say, not only is it a national of interest, but it's ready. Some stuff is ready to go now. So let's get on it. But the thing with this project that may be difficult is that since the wind turbines, no construction could happen usually until about 2033, unless there's something money thrown at it to advance more quickly. There's also no revenue generation from it until then, right? So it's a bigger investment with a bigger payback later on. Now, of course, there's still all the investment in terms of, you're going to build those transmission lines and whatnot. There are jobs there and whatnot, and economic activity that comes from that. It's not, that you don't just have to have that. But if you can expand a port within a year, and then there's more business generating, the revenue come back, return on that investment comes back a whole lot more quickly. There will be probably no, again, revenue from the actual wind generation, right, for about
A decade.
right? So that might factor into the calculation there, but it is a sound idea.
And it's the first step towards becoming an energy exporter and another step towards becoming a prosperous province. We are sending a clear signal to the world. Nova Scotia is open for offshore wind business, and we're ready to lead. And I've spoken with leaders in this sector from around the world, and they all said the same thing. They're ready to invest here in Nova Scotia because we have what it takes. We have an amazing wind resource, a skilled workforce, and deep water ports, and a government that is clear-eyed and committed to making this industry succeed. The offshore wind energy areas we're designating today are the results of years of focused and coordinated work. The province, in close partnership with the federal government, has worked tirelessly to make sure that we get this right. Right for our environment, right for our economy, and right for our communities. Our consultations have been rigorous. We've met with fishers, the Mi'kmaq, environmental groups, municipalities, researchers, and industry partners. And that collaborative work has brought us to this milestone, designating the first offshore wind energy areas in Canada. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to more questions.
So, big deal, big announcement. It seems like the proper consultations were done in the proper way. I haven't heard much objection from First Nations communities about this project. Of course, as we mentioned in the article there, making sure that they have an equity stake and partnership, whatnot, but there doesn't seem to be much objection from what I can tell. Maybe there will be more to come as the news from this goes out and starts to, circulating and generating more buzz and conversation. But there wasn't there wasn't an instant sort of reaction saying, no, we oppose this. So hopefully that part of the job was well done. And we'll move on here to the actual premier, who's talking a bit about the project here. We have a couple of sections of him with this. And the first one is that it seems that at its origin, the 2.5 gigawatts that was initially supposed to be built was for a green project as well, but it was to fuel a plan to develop green hydrogen.
Mm.
And then the project became more ambitious after that.
Announced these 5 gigs, this bid, there was talk about this energy being used to support green hydrogen. Now that green hydrogen project perhaps hasn't advanced as far as we all thought it might have by now. So is that still the idea that this wind energy would go to green hydrogen, or are you now looking at exporting it? That sort of sounded to me today like the talk was all about exporting it.
So it's, I think it's really, really important. So if we think about perspective here, right? So, this could be 60 gigawatts, could be 5 initially. But right now, Nova Scotia's peak use is 2.4. Okay, so obviously this is twice as much as we use. And we have other generation capacity as well, right? So it's more than we need in this province. Our own internal energy use will increase pretty dramatically. Electrification, more industrial development through mines. But just if you think about the need for data centers in the world, one data center, 1 gig. So maybe we put 40 data centers, like you just green hydrogen. Absolutely. So the demand for energy is only going up. So we'll have the energy. I'm sure some of it will go towards green hydrogen. Sure, some of it will go to Nova Scotia residential consumers. Some of it will go to Nova Scotia industrial consumers. Some of it will go to Nova Scotia industrial consumers that aren't here yet, but will come here. I think for me and for Nova Scotians, the thing that's most attractive is we'll have what everyone wants, and then we can go from there.
All right. It's a sound plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in there that makes it, but wait, what if that? And it's like, yeah, there would definitely be enough to, fuel whatever they want to do with green hydrogen and do all that other stuff. And again, it's the priority to which which things do you direct the energy first when it's there. But yeah, and again, this would bring other industries, but 1 gig for a data center? Damn. I hope we don't have too many.
Right.
Or else it's going to just be like Pac-Man, just eating all the energy. So then he continues on, and he is talking here about a bit about timelines and specifically about the need, how the transmission lines issue comes up here.
Timeline for Ms. Dome, but when, in your ideal world, when would you like to see the first turbine built and first farm complete?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing is for me, is to get some clarity around the transmission and the support, the federal government's willingness to support the Eastern Energy Partnership. We're having tremendous discussions there. I believe there's a lot of interest there. We will continue to move that forward with more technical specifications. That work is all happening and progressing pretty quick, I'd say. And I'm really, really encouraged by the team that the Prime Minister is building. With Deputy Sabia there, like this is the person who knows it, the Prime Minister himself. I think if you saw the Prime Minister's scrum at COF, when the Prime Minister was asked about nation building projects, he twice in his comments referred to Wind West. And I can't think of another one that he referred to. Like he's very interested in this for a number of reasons. It certainly ticks the box of making Canada an energy superpower. So I think we would hope to get some clarity around the Eastern Energy Partnership I'm hoping over the next couple months, then proceed to the bid process. And then if we do our work properly, we'll have the most reputable companies in the world interested in this that will shrink the supply chain, give them more access to abilities. So I think that's really important. But I also don't want to lose sight of one of the things that makes this project incredibly attractive to developers. And although the initial 5 gigawatts is that's the biggest in the world. There's no other projects that big. Like that is the biggest in the world. That's at 5 gigawatts. But they know that there's another 50, 55, 60 coming behind that. That's really important because when you think about as they ramp up their own supply chain, well, they can be within the same jurisdiction for a long time. So that's a severe motivation to be here, be part of that, build up the supply chain here, and continue to move things forward. So I think that the overall project size and people have been waiting for this resource to get tapped. Everybody's known this is the best wind speeds in the world, but I think a factor of 10%. Like there's nothing like this. It blows a lot. Like I think anywhere 50. I saw some of the numbers are 54%, what they call capacity. Some I've seen 61, I've seen 57, but any way you look at it, it blows a lot. The only place the wind blows more, I say, is across the street. But
Minister Boudreau, your department issued an OIC earlier this month for a loan guarantee for a project that we've not had any details about yet. Is that related to this?
Okay. I don't think we need this section here. Do you have any thoughts on that, sir?
No.
Okay. In that response, he talks about Michael Sabia. Michael Sabia, for those who might need a refresher, he's the person that Mark Carney brought in to be his clerk of the Privy Council. But he was the chief executive of Hydro-Québec from 2023. He actually left Hydro-Québec to come over here. He's also the one-time CEO of BCE. He's also worked at Canadian National Railway. So, Bell Canada, Hydro-Québec, CN, sort of big corporations that do big projects and, have, but also he has a financial background. Also, he was with La Caisse de Dépôt in Quebec, and he won praise for stabilizing that. And he was also Deputy Minister of Finance from 2020 to 2023, member of the Canadian Government's Advisory Council on Economic Growth, chair of Canada's Infrastructure Bank from 2020 to 2021. So he also not only has sort of like the big corporations that build big projects, but also some financial background. So Tim Houston, the Premier of Nova Scotia, seems to be under the impression that so far, at least with his discussions, he has somebody that has obviously the capacity to understand how this could be big and how this works and what type of financing it would need given the scale of the project here. So there's some it's positive feedback that the right people are in the right positions to make stuff happen. Let's put it that way. Let's continue on with him. He talks about a certain because we're in a trade war, right, with the United States, and the guy south of us is making other types of decisions for the U.S. economy. So this question opens up a door to that and how this could be some of the choices that are being made south of us could actually be really, really good news for Nova Scotia with this project.
Premier, to what degree do you think the ability to generate private sector interest in this is aided by the fact that right now in the U.S., the federal administration seems to have soured on offshore wind? To what degree do you think that will help generate interest in it here?
It doesn't hurt. I mean, this is an industry that wants to move forward. President Trump has shut off that growth in the United States, so they have to look elsewhere. And it just so happens we have the best wind resource in the world on the eastern seaboard as well. It's actually convenient. Or actually, if you think about some of the projects that were contemplated on the eastern coast of the United States, and even some that have proceeded, like Vineyard One, if you think about those projects, they're many of them already using our ports for logistics and laydown. So it's convenient. Our location is convenient. For me, when I talk to them, I say, come build in the offshore of Nova Scotia, build up that supply chain, and at some point in time, the United States will open up again, and you'll be well positioned on the East Coast. So I think it's a factor, but it's certainly not the only factor.
Question on behalf of a colleague. We're hearing the port is looking to expand cargo potentially at the cost of the grain elevator, leaving Nova Scotia.
So, again, Donald Trump seems to have been abandoning the whole renewable sector. I wonder who else is doing that, Mr. Grizzly? Somebody local in our country is letting some economic opportunities go by.
Daniel Smith.
Yeah, that's the one. Daniel Trump.
Yeah.
I mean Smith.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's a Freudian slip.
Mm-hmm. Sure it is.
So, taking a little sidebar here to talk about this little issue here, the Associated Press published July 31st. The Trump administration is canceling plans to use large areas of federal waters for new offshore wind development, the latest step to suppress the industry in the United States, literally on the same day that Tim Houston is announcing that he's found spaces. The United States, through Donald Rump Roast, decides, nah, we don't want to occupy this space. Thank you for punching yourself in the dick. I just... Fuck. More than 3.5 million acres had been designated wind energy areas, the offshore locations deemed most suitable for wind energy development. The U.S. Bureau of Ocean Energy Management is now rescinding all designated wind energy areas in federal waters, announcing on Wednesday an end to setting aside large areas for speculative wind development. Offshore wind lease sales were anticipated off the coasts of Texas, Louisiana, Maine, New York, California, and Oregon, as well as in the Central Atlantic. The Biden administration last year had announced a 5-year schedule to lease federal offshore tracts for wind energy production. Trump began reversing the country's energy policies after taking office in January. A series of executive orders took aim at increasing oil and gas and coal production. The Republican president has been hostile to renewable energy, particularly offshore wind. One early executive order temporarily halted offshore wind lease sales in federal waters and paused the issuance of approvals, permits, and loans for all wind projects. In trying to make a case against wind energy, he has relied on false and misleading claims about the use of wind power in the U.S. and around the world. The Bureau said it was acting in accordance with Trump's action and an order by his Interior Secretary this week to end any preferential treatment toward wind and solar facilities, which were described as unreliable, foreign-controlled energy sources. The U.S. Interior Department is considering withdrawing areas on federal lands with high potential for onshore wind power to balance energy development with other uses such as recreation and grazing. It will also review avian mortality rates associated with wind turbines. Earlier this month, the department said all solar and wind energy projects on federal lands and waters must be personally approved by the U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Robin Schaefer, president of Protect Our Coast, New Jersey, applauded the administration for its actions and said they were long overdue. Opponents of offshore wind projects are particularly vocal and well organized in New Jersey. Quote, "It's hard to believe these projects ever got this far because of the immensity, scale, scope, and expense compared to the relatively cheap and reliable forms of onshore power," he said Thursday. "We're nearly there, but we haven't reached the finish line yet." The Sierra Club said the administration's relentless obstruction of wind energy shows it does not care about creating affordable, reliable energy for everyday Americans. Quote, "No matter how much they want to bolster their buddies in the dirty fossil fuel industry, we will continue to push for the cleaner, healthier, and greener future we deserve," Xavier Boatwright, Sierra's Club's deputy legislative director for clean energy and electrification, said in a statement. And I'm sorry, I can't get past this guy named being Xavier Boatwright for the Sierra Club.
Yeah, that's
Boatwright.
Boat face.
Sierra Club. It's like boat correctly, boat right, boat. It kind of works. Attorneys general from 17 states and the District of Columbia are suing in federal court to challenge Trump's executive order halting leasing and permitting for wind energy projects. His administration has also halted work on major offshore wind projects for New York, but allowed it to resume in May. The nation's first commercial-scale offshore wind farm, a 12-turbine wind farm called South Fork, opened last year east of Montauk Point in New York. So yeah, apparently clean energy is unreliable, foreign controlled. So we can't have it. And by abandoning that and let's say having a wind farm develop in the Nova Scotia area, which perhaps people in New England will use to power themselves, you've just guaranteed that your wind would indeed be foreign controlled. Again, way to punch yourself in the nuts, buddy.
He is the dumbest man on planet Earth to ever hold an office with that kind of power.
And not only is it foreign controlled, but it's foreign controlled by a country that hates your guts because you piss them off, populated with a bunch of people who are petty as fuck.
It's just...
There you go, smarty pants. I feel like Creek Pete at the moment.
Well, for good reason.
Oh my God, you dumb fuck. Just, hey, again, it's like if an enemy, I think it was, I can't remember who said it, but it's like never interrupt an enemy when they're imploding or punching themselves in the dick. It's like, you keep doing that. We'll just sit here and wait till you're finished. God. All right. The last clip that we have from the press conference is actually not the premier, but Kim Doan, who's the Department of Energy's executive director of subsurface energy. And then, of course, and then we'll get back to Tim Houston, who has a little bit to say here. But talking about the design of the project.
Who this would be for, but I'm pretty sure windmills can operate only within a certain strength of wind. Do we know, like, would these be more powerful? Because I'm assuming wind offshore would be stronger than what we would have here. And do we know the range, maybe, that they can operate at?
Our technical expert on this one.
So it's a great question. So obviously wind turbines are built and designed for different sizes. So obviously when we look at onshore design turbines, they're smaller. When you move offshore, you're moving into a size about a 15 gigawatt size wind turbine design, and that has certain aspects like wind turbines. There's a lot of engineering and science behind how one turbine impacts the next turbine in the field. So there's a whole engineering aspect. We have looked at some of the wind speeds and understanding how that wind speeds, the capacities, as the Premier mentioned, and then also engineering design to make sure we enhance and utilize the best size wind turbine for the resource we have. We have been utilizing and have had research done, and this is going to get to a point I didn't mention earlier, but utilizing research at Dalhousie University and increasing the R&D side of offshore wind. As the Premier said, this is a global opportunity, and so we want our institutions and academics, whether it's the community college and new technician programs, or it's the universities in their research. We're going to be utilizing all of that resource for the future, but that is a good impact. That is a good question around size of turbine. And so as you move out, it will get bigger, and that will help manage the size of this and speed of the winds.
I think the fixed bottom turbines, this is not new. They have them all over the world. Floating is a little different. I think my father would say, this is not a problem to solve. This is a problem to do. It's just got to be done. The offshore wind with fixed bottom, they know how to scale those turbines and build them. The floating, the technology is still developing. And then at the other end of the spectrum, I'd say Bay of Fundy, problem to solve. Hasn't been solved yet, but offshore wind has been solved. We just have to do it.
Just wondering if the wind were to get too strong, would that impact the productivity because they can't turn?
Yeah, yes, and the wind is strong out there, but they know how to. These numbers are close, and we can. But in the North Sea, where there's been turbines for a long time, I think the wind factor is like 9.1. Our offshore is like 10.1 or 10.2 or some order of magnitude. So it's that much more, but it's not like in the North Sea it's 1, and we're saying now you got to do 10. Like it's not a problem to solve. Premier, some of us can.
All right. So again, number one, yay science, yay engineers. Another thing that you could see happening as a result of this, as this goes ahead, is that at Dalhousie University there becomes a center of excellence for that type of research like this that will help fuel around the world. And again, these technicians programs as well at the colleges, that it can be a huge hub educationally as well for the world. So there's lots of various other industries that can pop up as a result of this that can also generate additional economic benefit and across all sectors, right? So that's another good point there to mention. But exactly a very good question. If you have to do, if the winds are so much stronger, what kind of turbines do you need? And, is that possible? And Premier Houston here trying to make the case that for anything that's a fixed base, that's not a problem because they're used all over the place. The floating ones, because the 4 zones that have been identified, one of them is a floating one. So that one's going to be, the technology is not quite there yet. But for the other 3, it's in the water, the typical. And then for those types of, because there's other offshore projects, when you look at them in the world, yes, the winds are a little stronger in Nova Scotia, but not so much stronger that it's like, oh my God, this is a new problem to solve, right?
Exactly. And you can see the areas that they're building in here that they plan to build. I would assume that in this area closest here, it looks like there's a drop off of the shelf in this quadrant. Okay. That may be where they require the floating. The rest would be anchored by the looks of it because it's shallower water. And you can see, of course, Sable Island right here, that little smiley.
Yep. So the 4 areas that were identified were French Bank, Middle Bank, Sable Island Bank, as Mr. Grizzly appropriately noted, and Sydney Bight.
Now, the thing that you need to remember here, too, is surprisingly, This is the North Atlantic, yes, but that area of the North Atlantic you don't get icebergs there. It's you don't get a lot of ice there, surprisingly, because it's warmer weather, warmer waters. I think the average temperature on Sable Island is like 18 degrees or 15 degrees is in the winter. So yeah, it's not as cold there as it is in other parts of the country. So it's quite feasible that they wouldn't have to shut down on too many days in the winter when it comes to productivity and the build is what I'm getting at.
Excellent. The last, we have one more clip for you with regard to this, but it's not from the press conference itself. It's actually from Global News, because in this piece that they had, they are talking about a little bit some of the changes that were made to the original plan based on the consultation, which again gives us hope that the consultation was indeed well done, and some response from the opposition parties in Nova Scotia. So just to get a fuller picture.
Okay, just a second. I got it all queued up and ready to go, and then I don't know what happened. Something just disappeared on my screen here. It's very strange. There we go. There we go. Something went haywire in the background. Let me just bring this onto the screen for you.
The designation comes after the public was asked for feedback on 5 proposed areas in the spring.
We've met with fishers, the Mi'kmaq, environmental groups, municipalities, researchers, and industry partners. And that collaborative work has brought us to this milestone.
The public engagement contributed to making the French Bank and Sydney Bight areas slightly smaller.
One element of the new designation and the new coordinates of the designations is they now match the grid system that our offshore regulator will use.
The 5th area shortlisted, Western Emerald Bank, will be revisited due to its complex shipping routes and other concerns.
Emerald Bank has fish conservation areas in it. Emerald Bank is an area for national defense activities and operations.
Meantime, the provincial opposition is urging the Premier to remain focused on Nova Scotians. In a statement, NDP environment critic Lisa Lachance says, "We need to make sure these projects benefit everyday Nova Scotians, lower bills, and continue to include input from those most impacted by offshore development." Officials could not confirm a timeline for the full development of the offshore energy. However, they say that they expect a call for bids to be issued late this year. Sky Bride and Blom, Global News, Halifax.
So there you have it, kids and cubs. Even though, as we mentioned, there might not be anything being constructed with regards to turbines until 2033 if it goes ahead, there are still steps that are starting right away here. I'm guessing that, I guess, like I said, the project isn't approved yet because the office isn't open yet, but I'm guessing that they are getting good vibes if they have a sense that that stage will be hit by the end of this year. So, but yeah, I have a hard time finding anything wrong with this project.
Yeah, I'm just looking here in that video clip, and it does show that the water depths, and it is quite shallow in the areas that the initial areas that they've decided to use. So it all makes sense.
Okay. So, but you could see that there was some public consultation. Some of the zoning, some of the areas that were zoned were changed in order to accommodate requests and needs and whatnot. And so, yeah, again, fingers crossed that overall people are happy with the consultation process and that it can move ahead. But it seems like, again, right, he is a conservative premier, but he is a progressive conservative premier.
Well, I mean, again, he's done things that we don't necessarily agree with, but
yes,
this is a progressive policy.
He's not conservative in the same vein as Daniel Smith or a Scott Moe.
No, not at all. Not even close.
For people who don't like conservatives because, they sell everything. That's
what they're famous for.
Like this, and screw up the healthcare system and whatnot like this. Yes, in the same vein. there. But
Well, and let's dwell on that for just a couple seconds, though. I know a lot of conservatives who, again, the key word here is they are progressive.
Right.
So they don't have a party anymore. They
Right.
don't. But I've talked to many of them, and I'm not now. Some guys will just hate on the Liberals because they're liberal. It doesn't matter that Mark Carney is actually a blue jacket wearing liberal. I mean, he's a progressive conservative more than he is a Justin Trudeau liberal. But that being said, he's a Joe Clark progressive conservative. Yep. So his policies that he'll put forth will benefit most Canadians, and he doesn't believe in selling off things, as do most progressive conservatives that I know don't believe in selling off things either.
Mm-hmm.
They might say that government isn't super efficient, and I will say yes, that is true. Government isn't super efficient, and there are areas for efficiency to be placed. Yes. Canada Post is an example of an area that we need to get more efficient with. Yes, it's a service. It's not supposed to turn a profit, but you can't be losing as much money as they've been losing.
Right.
You just can't continue to do that.
Yep.
Which is where you have to get progressive policies advanced to take care of it in the future. But what he is doing here is building for the future. This is very much a progressive conservative policy of the days of Joe Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Let's build something for the future for Nova Scotians, but not just Nova Scotians. He's saying we can give 20% of the 27% of the country could be powered by this.
Yep. I would see Brian Mulroney all over this.
Oh yeah.
Right. As
absolutely.
Being one of the greenest prime ministers, right?
And who would be right there supporting him? Green Party leader Elizabeth May.
Yep.
I haven't heard any commentary from her about this yet, but I'm sure she's fully in support of it. And then when you hear Wingnut Trump the other day going on, all the birds that die from, you know what kills more birds than anything else? Domestic cats.
Okay.
That's what kills more birds than you combined everything else, all windmills, glass built, domestic cats kill more birds than anything else in all of North America.
But here's the thing again. Here's how you know this is bullshit, right? The birds and the wind turbines. And how many birds fly into the window glasses of skyscrapers?
Yeah. More than hit turbines.
You build those.
Yeah.
It's like, tear down Trump Tower. Got to save the birds.
Yeah.
We just gotta.
Make it out of brick.
What a dumbass. Oh my God.
You're not dealing with it very smart.
I am so over him.
Tell me about it. But it's like every now and then he'll come out and say something stupid, and I'm like, I can't let this go. I'm depressed. I mean, yesterday was, his August 1st we're supposed to have. No, I'm raising the tariff prices. Now, when does he drop them? Because you saw how the stock market tanked on Friday.
Yes.
Right now, this episode's going to air on a Friday.
Yes.
So a week ago,
yes,
the stock market tanked because of Trump's tariffs. Now, did he issue one of his tweets or posts or Truth Socials or Truths or whatever the hell they call them on that about now's a good time to buy? Because he's going to say that soon, right?
Right.
So he's tanking the market. People are losing their life savings, but he doesn't care because his rich friends will get rich when he says, now's a good time to buy. Then he'll lift the tariffs again and watch the market go back up.
Yeah. The Dow dropped 542 points. Well, when it closed, 542 points down, but it had been even 100 points lower at its lowest point of the day. And but the one that I like to look at in these instances is something called the VIX, which is the volatility index from the Chicago Board Options Exchange. And it's basically the measure of the amount of either greed or fear that's in the market. And when the VIX goes up, that's fear.
Right.
The VIX went up 21.89% on Friday.
Yikes. That's a lot of fear. That's a lot of fear. That's a lot of people losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is not good. Now, again, like I said, he'll turn around and do something. He'll chicken out next week, probably. Well, let me say, this being a Friday that this episode is airing, he's probably already chickened out and backed down.
That's a spike up.
That's a huge spike up.
Let's spike up. Let's see here. See,
Wow.
and this was around Liberation Day. See how much it spiked
Okay.
when he
Yeah.
came up, and then it
Yeah.
settled down because he was
Spiked
checking
down.
out, and now it's starting up again.
Dumbest man on planet Earth to ever hold a position of that power.
Oh,
Ever.
man. Yeah.
And it doesn't see because he's so convinced that he's right in his mind. Tariffs. I'm a big tariff guy. Ronald Reagan was dead set against tariffs because he knew how detrimental they are to the economy and to people. Ronald Reagan, the trickle down guy, didn't believe in tariffs because he said, sure, in the short term, everything's rosy, but in the long term, everybody gets hurt. Ronald Reagan. Reagan wasn't an idiot. He was just an asshole. There's a difference. Huge difference.
I've
What
never
was it
heard
George
it that
Carlin
way.
said?
That works.
Well, Reaganomics and Reaganomics sucks. Yeah, tell me something I don't know. George Carlin was famously saying the trickle-down effect. What he's saying is they're literally pissing on you.
Pretty much.
Anyway, sir, I do have to go. I know this is a recording, but I do have to go because I only had a limited window to get in here today. So thanks, Kits and Cubs, for joining us. It's bookending the week because live show Monday and a recorded show for Friday. So you get to see me twice in 1 week. I'll put out some other shorts to hand off to Mr. Beaver. And I think maybe 3 times this week, eh? We're going to have a recording. So we got an interview coming up. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you'll have seen me 3 times by the time this airs. So at least 3 times. So I'm still around. I'm just a busy guy and I'm up early in the morning every day.
No. Next week, the 2 extras that we're going to be recording are going to be for Monday and Tuesday of the following week.
For the following week. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they'll get you. If we record those, they'll get you 3 days in a row.
Okay.
But with
So
the weekend break.
Friday, Monday, Tuesday. All right.
Yes.
All right. That's good to know. Okay. I got to go. I will see you later. You guys and gals and kits and cubs and they and them and Z and Zer and everybody who's watching and enjoying. Take care.
Merci, mon frère. All right, kits and cubs, just have a little bit more time with you, and we'll be ending the show anyway very soon. The other thing I wanted to mention before we go, kits and cubs, is that the NDP has a leadership race coming up. And of course, about 3 weeks ago, they had announced that they were going to start a review process itself to see what they could do better. And then at some point later on, the NDP announced its rules for the leadership race. We had mentioned a couple of things before with regard to the registration fee and stuff of the like that had come out early, but the rest of the rules have now come out. According to the NDP itself from its own website, Canada's NDP is excited to share full details of the 2026 leadership race. This is a crucial first step in what will be an important opportunity for New Democrats to come together, rebuild, and elect our new leader. New Democrats and progressives from across the country are invited to join the party to participate and engage in this democratic process. As Canada's progressive political voice, the NDP continues to lead the fight for bold, progressive change, and this leadership race is a powerful opportunity to strengthen our movement together. The following are key dates for the leadership race and voting day. The leadership campaign period. The application package is available starting Wednesday, August 20th. The leadership campaign start date will be September 2nd, 2025. Membership cutoff date will be Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. Leadership campaign voting concludes on March 28th, 2026, and the leadership campaign announcement date will take place on March 29th of 2026. So again, a campaign that will go from early September to end of March. So about a 6-month campaign. And kits and cubs, as you know, I keep on advising everybody when there is a national party leadership race to please buy membership of the party, whether you vote for it or not, so that you can at least ensure that the party selects a quality candidate. So when the federal election does come by, with all parties actually have a decent, competent leader that you've had a hand in choosing. And then you get to choose from the best of what was available rather than, well, if you look at Pierre, what we get now. So I will be doing that once it comes, once the opportunity comes available, by my membership to the NDP, and so that I can vote in the leadership race, just as I have for the Liberals and just as I did for the Conservative Party, because again, party politics is where the real action is at. Candidates must register by and have paid the fourth deposit fee to appear on the ballot by Saturday, January 31st, 2026. There are some sponsored leadership events. The first leadership candidate forum will take place in October 2025, with exact dates for all of these to be confirmed. The first leadership debate will take place in November 2025, and the second one will take place in February 2026. So there'll probably be a candidate forum similar to what we saw when we were looking at what's going on in Battle River Crowfoot, where people are sitting, in front of a table and questions are asked to them, but there's no back and forth necessarily between the candidates, and then actual leadership debates, and there will be 2 of them scheduled. In addition to the above-mentioned events, provincial territorial sections of the party, electoral district associations, party committees, youth sections, campus clubs, and affiliated organizations are encouraged to host opportunities for leadership contestants to engage during the leadership race. So that's some of the news that's out there. And then there's a couple of other bits of news that have come out specifically when it comes to the signatures that would be required in order to qualify here, because the NDP has certain values that it wants to uphold. So they've created some conditions here. According to the CBC, and this is the Canadian press here, so published in the CBC, but according to the Canadian press, the NDP released the official rules for its leadership race on Friday. So this was probably before last week of July here, according to the dates here, which, like its last contest, include requirements that candidates gather specific numbers of signatures from supporters across regional, racial, and to as LGBTQ plus groups. At least 10% of a candidate's signatures must come from New Democrats aged 25 years or under. Candidates must also collect at least 50 signatures from 5 different regions in Canada: the Atlantic provinces, Quebec, Ontario, the Prairies, and BC/the North. The party adopted similar rules in 2017, the last time it held a leadership race. A new permanent leader to replace Jagmeet Singh will be chosen through a ranked ballot, allowing party members to list candidates in order of preference. The party announced earlier this month that candidates will be required to pay a $100,000 entry fee, up from the $30,000 required in 2017. The spending limit remains $1.5 million. The official campaign kicks off in September, and the final vote will be in March when the party holds its convention in Winnipeg. A candidate forum will be hosted in October, and the party will hold 2 leadership debates in November and in February 2026. Exact dates for those events have not yet been announced. We need a strong NDP in Ottawa to stand up for workers because we are the party of workers, said NDP National Director Lucy Watson in a statement. This leadership contest will give NDP members the opportunity to come together and elect a leader who will carry forward the critical work of cracking down on corporate greed, fixing our healthcare system, and lowering costs for the working class. The rules also contain new safeguards against alleged foreign interference. It states that leadership teams, quote, must attend any unclassified briefings offered by the Government of Canada, Elections Canada, or any other relevant authority. For classified matters involving alleged foreign interference that are classified, the powers of the NDP's Chief Electoral Officer and the Leadership Vote Committee are delegated to the National Director or a designate that has required security clearance. Rules around third parties were laid out as well, making it clear that candidates are prohibited from cooperating and accepting contributions or advertising from outside entities. These rules likely emerged after the BC NDP 2022 leadership race between Anjali Appadurai and the province's current premier David Eby, who was later acclaimed. Appadurai disagreed with a report by the party's executive that she engaged in, quote, serious improper conduct by working with third parties, including an environmental group, to sign up members on her behalf. The rules for the federal NDP's 2026 leadership race state that nothing, quote, precludes or discourages the independent, good faith participation or endorsement of affiliated labor organizations. And in the event a third party supports or opposes a leadership hopeful, creating the appearance of collusion, it states, quote, the leadership contestant must take all necessary steps to dispel such interferences and or doubts. So those are the basic terms that are out there with regard to the party leadership race. I'm just going to take a look at one other place here to see if there was any other additional information about the types of signatures that needed to be collected here. And nope, everything I needed to say was indeed contained in the Canadian Press article. So there you go, kids and cubs. The rules are out, and that's sometime in March. Some people are. Is it March? I've already forgotten. Oh my God, I'm so terrible. Anyway, people will be applying for their candidate packages in order to compete in the race. And yeah, there you go. Nice to see democracy in action. All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring, and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. We really appreciate it when you do. Now, kids and cubs, if you do not want to miss an episode of our show because you might be busy and on the go, we like to help with that. Take us with you. We're portable. Our ears-only version, available in podcast format, made available to you thanks to the generous contribution of the Ray Girl, who sponsors our pod page. podpage.com/the truenortheagerbeaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And if you go there and click subscribe when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it comes directly to you. Boom. You don't even have to go looking for it. We make it really easy because we like to help. Now, in turn, if you would like to help us, you can do so by going down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page, where we have our buttons for you to smash with, like, share, and subscribe. I can hear you, Kit Elaine. I can hear you, Kit Cassie, beckoning, asking people to come and smash. And if you're watching, remember, if you smash now, you don't have to remember to do it before you leave. Go ahead, smash. I'll wait. All right, kids and cubs. If you would like to help us in other ways, well, have I got a deal for you. If you like what we do and would like to encourage us to do more, because I mean, who doesn't want more beaver, right? A little contribution to the emergency hydration fund here at the Beaver Lodge. My cup's getting empty today. Would do us a lot of good if you need to keep your beaver moist, which you really should do, because a dry beaver is a very unhappy beaver, but a moist beaver is always a very happy beaver. Kids and cubs, you can do so by scanning that QR code, coffeeko-fi.com/eagerbeaver. And if you go there and put a little couple of toonies or loonies in there for us, well, that does help us with the cost of the show, but it also makes us very happy. Plus, according to our scientific research, it makes you 28.3% more sexy. Yeah, I see you. I see your hotness. I see you guys working it. Looking good. All right, kids and cubs, because democracy is something that you do. Forever Canadian, it's on now. Alberta, we need you. So they're looking for people to help canvass for signatures and for volunteers, and a place where you can go and pledge that you will want to sign the petition when the time comes. So www.forever-canadian.ca. It seems that some of the first canvassers, if I remember correctly, there was a post by Mr. Lukasik, who is spearheading this, has indicated that they have already signed up some of their first canvassers already. So, like I said, it's on the way. Things are happening. So, kids and cubs, if you live in Alberta and are eligible to vote, you could help. You can definitely sign the petition, or you can volunteer to answer, because you are influencers in in your own area and, and in your own circle. So even if you individually just get, 15 signatures for people that you know, right? That's 15. It contributes, right? Because Mr. Lukasik is in Forever Canadian is going to need, 293,967 of them or something like that. I can't remember if that's the exact number, but let's say that. And then, of course, he's going to need a hell of a lot more because Danielle Smith is going to do her best to invalidate some of these signatures. So we don't only need to sign if we want to have a referendum question that's more pro-Canada, but we have to sign in numbers too great to manipulate and make it undeniable so that whatever game that Danielle Smith has planned cannot be played with her winning, of course. So please, if you are able to do that, we would be very grateful because this is a beautiful country. And I don't know, I have a little Al Green going on in me. Let's stay together. So we would love your help. Words of wisdom, kids and cubs. Again, I'm not the wise one. Usually that's Mr. Grizzly. But, I'm going to say it, if you're feeling lonely, call a friend. Reach out. No need to feel lonely if you are. Right? Kids and cubs, it could be a tough world out there. So please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, if I can have you say, Mr. Beaver, please cue the cock. And 1, 2, 3. Ah, yes. And I even heard some breeze in the background there. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kids and cubs. I had something that I was going to say, and it popped out of my mind just as it came. Ah, well. Well, then, in that case, since I can't remember what I was going to say, I'm just going to say amour et bisous. Oh, now I remember. Remember to join us on Monday for our conversation with Sarah Spanier, who is one of the candidates in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election. We will have her with us for about an hour, and we'll probably add a couple of other things about what's going on in Alberta to tack on to that to give you a little extra beaver, not have such a short show. But we will have her, and we'll talk about her run for the seat and what her experience of campaigning in this by-election has been, because it has been very different than Bonnie Critchley's. So we'll bring that for you. All right, kids and cubs. Have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. And now, I vanish.